See here, we're on this computer. Coaches coaching, coaches coaching. We're here. We're ready to rock and roll. Dude, how about the phone call? So interns that are on, little do you know that at 5:45 this morning, your head trainer's got a phone call from me. Remind them about the call this morning, and they were all so excited about it. I got a couple text messages already. One of the head trainers even called me back, all confused, like I have no idea what's going on right now. Oh, dude, I love this job.
I like the
hashtag savage. Oh, dude, I thought it was so funny. Okay, so guys, today we are talking kind of joint by joint. I'll change gears here. Sorry. We're talking joint by joint approach. We're talking, and we're kind of wanting to mirror that with the MoveU 6-point checklist. So, Layne, why don't you talk first? The 6-point checklist. I'm going to try and get a little video here. A little thing here pulled up while you're doing that. But why don't you talk real quick those 6 checkpoints from MoveU while I get this pulled up.
Okay, cool. So yeah, guys, we had a MoveU seminar about a month ago, I think. Excellent seminar. The MoveU guys, if you don't know who those guys are, go follow them on Instagram. But they walked us through these 6 checkpoints, and it was awesome because essentially, if you understand these checkpoints, they're always going to be the same checkpoints you're going to be looking at, no matter what movement you're doing, just about. Okay. So starting from the bottom, that's your feet. Like let's say we're getting ready to do a squat, okay? That's our feet screwed into the floor, knees driving out, okay? Neutral pelvis. They always go through a checkpoint, try and help people find neutral, okay? Anterior pelvic tilt bad, posterior pelvic tilt bad. They want people to be able to get to neutral. From there, they move up to the core and help people learn how to brace their core, make sure their ribs aren't flaring, get their core approximated in the right place, move up to the shoulder blades, right? So many times we get bad problems with the thoracic spine because the shoulder blades don't know how to be packed properly. And the last one's head position, right? Where's my head at? And it's just chin tucked so that I get a nice neutral spine, okay? So that's your 6 points from your feet. We talked on this yesterday's call too, from your feet all the way up the chain. If you get those 6 checkpoints in the right place, and they were talking about every single movement, right? We did it with pull-ups. We did it with pushing. We did it with squats. We did it with deadlifts. Those 6 checkpoints hold true. It's all the same thing. And it's body control and it's body awareness. So our clients a lot of times are not going to have that body control. They're not going to have that body awareness. So they're going to go through a movement and several of those checkpoints are going to be off. And it's our job as the coach to recognize, intervene, help them connect the dots, and get them moving better, feeling better, and getting great results, okay? So that's kind of the basics. Perfect. I actually took a screenshot like 30 seconds ago. RJ, I have this exact picture.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm having some technical difficulties this morning with my computer, so I did my best to Google search a joint-by-joint approach image, and this is what came up. So essentially, guys, we're looking at 2 different things. We're looking at a MoveU 6-point checklist, and then we're looking at joint-by-joint approach to training. And the reason that we're wanting to do this is to kind of connect the dots, right? You've got a lot of, we've got a lot of different people that come and talk to us, from MoveU to, Dan, John, Mike Boyle, Bartholomew, all these guys have come to talk to us, right? And one of the things that we're wanting to try and help you guys understand is a lot of what they're talking about is very similar. And I can't remember if it was in a call yesterday or what we were talking about, but somebody had made the comment of don't argue about the 10% that everybody disagrees on. Let's work on the 90% that everybody agrees on, right? And so we wanted to take a second and kind of show you, okay, Mike Boyle's joint by joint, Craig Cook joint by joint, right? How does that translate over to MoveU? And then how does that translate over to other things, right? So he's going through the 6-point checklist. So if you look at it here, this is essentially the joint by joint. So all joint by joint is it's saying that every other joint that you have essentially is either going to be a mobile or a stable joint. Okay, so as you train people, so if you look at ankle, knee, hip, I'm having a brain fart, lumbar spine, geez, T-spine, C-spine, right? So you're looking at kind of the mobility, stability, mobility, stability, mobility, stability, okay? So same thing with what Layne was talking about in the 6-point checklist, right? The 6-point checklist starts with the feet, starts with digging in the toes, spreading the feet, getting an arch in the feet, right? Stability, opening up the knees. That's the second checkpoint. Okay. The third checkpoint is the hips, neutral hip position, right? The fourth checkpoint is the bringing down the ribs, right? Stabilization in the core, right? And then that fifth checkpoint, you're rolling down the shoulders, and then you got the C-spine tucking the chin. Right? We all on the same page? So the reason that this is so important and why we're wanting to point this out is because as soon as you kind of start to, if you take this joint by joint approach and you look, okay, mobility, stability, okay, and that's kind of where you're starting, and then you start to go, okay, what do I need to make mobile? What do I need to make stable? And then taking that 6-point checklist and now going down the line as you're coaching people, and as you're looking at them and you're going, okay, does that look right or not, right? Based off of what I know with stability versus mobility, right? So that's kind of when you're looking at coaching and you're looking at people and you're coaching them, you can take any movement, deadlift, squat, press, pull, plank, whatever it is, and you can apply these principles to all of those movements. Does that make sense?
Hey RJ, can we show a couple like examples? I'll move on my video and we can highlight this.
Perfect.
That's a mannequin, by the way, not a real person.
Hey, what is that creepy thing in the window? Oh my gosh. Okay, so going back to yeah, you're probably good right there. So going back to this joint by joint, right? Stable versus mobile. I'm gonna have Layne, let's just have you do a squat.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a body weight squat. Okay, so let's point down to his feet first. So first thing he's gonna do, dig the toes in. He's gonna spread the big feet, right? Or big feet, the little toes, and he's gonna create an arch in his heel, an arch in his foot, right? Okay, so going back to that stability part, okay, and that joint by joint, right? That's the first step. The second thing, yep, is the knees. He's going to get his knees to go out. Okay, that's going to cause what? Why are we doing that? Why are we wanting the knees to go out?
External rotation of the hips.
There we go, external rotation of the hips, right? So we want the external rotation in the hips, okay? And then from there, what are we looking at? We're looking at the pelvis, right? So do the thing you did yesterday, Layne. There you go. That's what I'm talking about, buddy. That's the magic right there.
You got to find neutral. Like, seriously, guys, sometimes you'll have clients who, like, this is how they walk around. And they're in this crazy, like, anterior pelvic tilt. Or sorry, posterior pelvic tilt. You'll have other people who are just doing this stripper booty thing.
No, exactly. Right, exactly. They get the butt that's out or they get too far forward, okay?
Not good.
Exactly, right? And so if you're looking – this is great. So if you're looking at –
Find neutral.
Exactly. You're looking at getting them into a neutral spine, okay? Then from there, the next one, we're looking at a stable joint, okay? Now we need to tuck the ribs down. Okay, we talked yesterday. One thing that's easy to do is just for him to exhale, right? If he just does a big exhale, and you can even do that while you're sitting in your chair right now. If I just take a big exhale on my own, you'll naturally feel that rib cage come down, right? And so there's your fourth checkpoint, okay? And then the last two you've got the shoulders rolled, okay? So right here he's showing, that humpback, right? So
just come on in.
Our rolled back. What's that? Anybody have a question?
Somebody didn't mute.
I'm going to mute you here. Okay, so going back to the shoulders, right? Now we're rotating those shoulders, okay, getting a neutral shoulder position, okay, and then from there, he's tucking his chin. Okay, so now at that point, he's able to perform a squat, okay, with all 6 of those checkpoints as he goes. And then if anything falls out of alignment, okay, so do something that somebody's going to do during a squat. Right? There you go. Okay, so right there, his back starts to go. Okay, so what do we need to fix? Right? We need to fix that T-spine, right? So now he's got to roll those shoulders back to get that T-spine back where it needs to be able to get that back straight again. Okay. Same thing if he were to elevate, and we've got all those different correctives and everything. And I'm not saying, one thing I do want to clarify, guys, on this, and we're going to show another movement here in a second, but before we do, and you don't have to go there real quick. So before we do, guys, so if you're looking at, and I'm going to share that little guy, right? So going back to the 6 points, okay, going back to the mobile versus stable, okay, as you're going through and you're thinking in your head those 6 checkpoints and you're thinking this joint by joint stable versus mobile, right now as you're going through that movement and you're watching them and you're coaching them, if it's not to the level that they need to be, that's where it's your job as a coach to intervene and to fix and to correct and to get it back on track, right? So I do want to clarify, you don't necessarily want / need. You know, I talked to one of the guys last week, one of the head trainers last week or 2 weeks ago, and he was like, dude, I can't do anything. Like, I literally am just like so focused and dialed in on this 6-point checklist and getting these things right that every single movement that I do right now, I'm just so focused in and I'm just, you know, going through that whole checklist. Well, that's not necessarily the case, right? When I go to Coach Layne, so now let's do this. Let's do it again. So Layne, let's get you back up. Let's do a deadlift this time, okay? So we're gonna pretend that he's got a kettlebell between his legs, okay? And we're gonna pretend that I'm giving him some coaching cues. So hey, Layne, we're gonna put the kettlebell between your legs. We're gonna pull. You know, we're going to keep the back straight. You know, here's a demo. This is what it looks like, right? Keep your chest tall at the top. Bring your chest down, hinging at the hips. Roll your shoulders back, blah, 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 right? So now, as he's going through the movement, right, I've got the 6-point checklist in my head, right? So he's going through the movement now, and I'm watching him, and I'm coaching him, okay? And as he's going, you see just his back started to arch, right? Okay, so now, as a coach, I can go to him, put a stick on his back, right? I can go to him and I can, hey, you know, let's rock your shoulders down, go back to the bottom position. Let's break the bell first, right? Because we've got to fix that problem. Okay, so I don't have to sit and go through at the beginning of every single workout. Hey, feet, knees, hips, low back, T-spine, chin, all that. I can go and correct it right now, right? Exactly. As he's going down, you can see his knees are caving in. So I can go, okay, Layne, let's do this. Let's put a band around your knees. Right? Or I want you to think, hey, external rotation, let's practice that for a second before we get back to load, right? That's where your job as a coach. So these tools that you're looking at and using, going back to just this crappy image of a skeleton, it's what we're working with, right?
Hey, RJ.
Yeah.
You see on your little search results on the right, if you go down, there's one that has a chain on it. Like just on to your to the right. One more over. Down one. I want to just say something really quick about this joint by joint approach. Okay. Notice how one of the links in the chain is like a little piece of string, and it's obviously going to break. Okay. So highlight my video really quick.
Oh, sorry. I accidentally pushed the wrong button. There we go. Yep, we're on.
So guys, the reason this is so important is because, you know, like with this checklist, okay, if you understand the joint by joint, you understand the ankles need to be mobile, knees need to be stable. But when your client starts presenting with pain, a lot of times if you fully understand the joint by joint approach, you can really quickly troubleshoot, okay? Because you can tilt the video down a little bit, right? If my knees are doing this, and I do that every time I squat, I'm gonna get in knee pain pretty quickly. Well, maybe the reason I'm doing that is twofold. Either I don't have mobility at my ankles, the joint below, or I don't have mobility at my hips, the joint above. And that's where you can start. Like, oh, they're getting knee pain. Well, chances are it's either hips are immobile or ankles are mobile. And then, oh, they're getting low back pain. Chances are either their T-spine is immobile right above or their hips are immobile right below. And that's what's so cool about the joint-by-joint approach is understanding that the stable joint is just stuck in the middle. Okay, so when it starts having pain, it's because you're trying to steal mobility from a joint that's not supposed to have it, right? When my back starts hurting, it's because I'm usually trying to steal mobility from my hips that is not there. So your job as a coach is, again, just make the mobile joints mobile and the stable joints stable. People won't have pain. People will move better. People will feel better. But it's also really help quick guide when people are presenting with pain. It's one of those mobile joints is usually immobile, or one of those stable joints is not being stable. And if you can quickly identify that and learn a little bit more depth about this approach, it's incredible what it can do for helping you get your clients out of pain and troubleshoot the movement, whatever the movement is, right? We can't go through all 100 things right now, but that's where you got to understand the principles when you go to see movement, that you're applying this lens of joint by joint, this lens of 6-point checklist, because it applies to everything. And that's what's awesome. We're giving you like a key to movement.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So no, and to piggyback on what Layne is saying, okay, so imagine, I want to give you kind of a little bit of a scenario. Okay, so imagine that I was next to, I had one person on my right and one person on my left. Okay, let's say it's Layne and Nick, right? And we're sitting here and we're strapped to a car, okay, and we're pulling this car. Okay, now imagine me, I'm in the middle, okay, I'm in the middle and I'm not pulling my fair share. Okay? I'm weak for whatever reason. Okay, I'm not pulling my fair share. Well, what's going to eventually happen over time to Nick and Layne? They're going to be tired, right? And they're going to wear out, and eventually something's going to give. Okay, and then what's going to happen is that issue is going to happen, but then what happens is people treat that, right? So low back pain, for example, right? What do people do with low back pain? They start to put ice packs, they start to put, hot packs on their low back, right? When that's not the issue. The low back isn't the issue, right? It's either above or below. Okay, so that's why that's why we're showing you, and that's, to re-emphasize what Layne is saying, on this is that's what we're looking at, is we're trying to help you guys realize, okay, joint by joint, stable, mobile, stable, mobile, stable, mobile. If there's an issue above or below, right? And that's whether they have pain or even, go back to that deadlift example, right? When he was doing the knees and the knees were caving in, guys, his knees are caving in. It has nothing to do with his knees, right? Why are his knees caving in? It's because of his hips. It has nothing to do with his knees, right? So it's the second that you realize that and you go, oh, okay, right? And then that helps you in every single movement, right? That joint by joint approach and that 6-point checklist can apply literally across the board with every single thing that we do.
Guys, really quick, I got a challenge for you, okay? As you're shadowing sessions this week, I can guarantee you're going to see bad form, okay? So that's a given. So that's nice, because it's a learning opportunity, okay? So the next time you see a client and their knees cave or their back drops or anything that looks a little off, ask your head trainer about the joint by joint and say, hey, I noticed their knees were caving. Walk me through that again, right? It takes reps for this to really sink in. At least it did for me. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm fairly intelligent, and this took a little bit of practice to really get knowing what I was watching and what was happening and why it was happening, okay? So practice this week. Take the joint-by-joint approach. Take the 6-point checklist. Understand that, when we say every movement is a screen, right? When you're screening something, you're looking for something specific, right? When I get an x-ray, they're looking for something specific. You're screening for dysfunction, okay? So every time you're watching a movement and you put on this screen of the joint-by-joint approach or the FMS, you're going to start identifying things. And guess what? All of a sudden, you become really valuable as a coach because you can help people move better. You can help people understand, oh, If I just improve my ankle mobility, I can get that depth on my squat that I've been wanting, and I can get the gains I want, right? It all connects back to their goals too, right? If my T-spine is stiff as heck, then I'm going to start having shoulder problems, and my bench press isn't going to go up, and I'm going to get frustrated because I'm not going to reach my goals, and my neck's going to hurt. And now all of a sudden it really affects your client's experience if you don't know how to help troubleshoot their body. That's why they came to us in the first place. They have a goal, right? And a lot of times they think, oh, I just need to do this to get the goal. But we need to help them understand, yes, you need to do, whatever exercise you think you need to do, but you also need to move better. Because if you can't hinge properly, I'm not going to help you build your legs. If you can't do a good squat pattern, we're not going to get anywhere. If your T-spine's locked up, your upper body's not going to progress. So when they can connect those dots that you help them connect, of your movement quality is here, and if we can get you to here, then boom, we're going to take off, and that's going to be so exciting. So that's why I need you to do this homework today, or that's why I need you to do this drill that you're like, why am I doing this weird T-spine mobility floor slide thing? Why am I not just doing bench press? Right? Like, well, you can do bench press, but you also got to do your mobility because your T-spine's stiff. And that's going to present with some problems, and I care about you. And I don't want you really getting your neck messed up or getting your shoulder out of place because you're trying to add strength to dysfunctional movement, right? Never add load to dysfunctional movement.
Yeah, I'm getting this. I'm trying to get this 6-point checklist pulled up. I finally got my computer ready. But to piggyback on what Layne is saying, connecting the dots is hugely important to the client experience. Okay, and helping them have an understanding. Going back to that simple example of the deadlift, knees are caving in. Okay, I go in, we interject, we fix it. Now we need to connect the dots with the client, just like Layne is saying, right? We need to make sure that they have a full understanding of why it is that we're doing what we're doing, that we're not just doing it just for fun, and that they, need to have that understanding of what's going on and why it's going on. Okay, I think I've got this thing finally pulled up. There we go. We're gonna share it. So this is the 6-point checklist, guys. I'm gonna put these, I'll try and put these next to each other. What I'll do is do this. So here's the 6-point checklist. Where did that other thing go? There we go. So there's our joint by joint. And then next to it, sorry, I'm trying to get this to be in somewhat of a, there we go. So you'll see those next to each other. Okay, so 6-point checklist, create the arch, rotate knees, pelvis, core engaged, chin back, shoulder blades down. Okay, same thing, ankle mobility, knee stability, hip mobility, lumbar spine stability, T-spine mobility, C-spine stability. So you can see those right next to each other. So guys, what questions do we have? Concerns? Layne, did you have any other further comments?
Yeah, really quick. If you can you see my camera?
Yep.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Ryan Criswell. He's been helping me the last 2 days.
The best.
Right? These laptops don't float on their own,
Wait, what? I thought that was magic.
It's just,
magic? That was Ryan the whole time?
Appreciated.
Oh, I'm a little disappointed. No, so guys, so going back, just to kind of recap, right? We talked about the 6-point checklist for MoveU, how that correlates to the joint by joint approach, and how that correlates to your clients and how we need to communicate that to those clients. Guys, this equals that, right? I mean, we keep talking about it, but it's very true. And the more that we can understand that and translate that, not only to our training, but also to our clients and help them have an understanding of, okay, I need to lock this down, this down, this down, this down. This is why I'm doing that. This is why I'm doing that. That's our job as trainers to be able to communicate that. So anyways, guys, we're off a little early today. Nice work. Appreciate you being here. Let's see, what should we do for the final thing? Cookie butter.
send out a message.
Cookie butter, ice cream. Okay, cookie butter. You need to text the word cookie butter to your head trainer. Okay, have a wonderful day, guys.
Appreciate you.